Hello! Thank you for joining us for yet another video. As so many of you already know, I am Second Lieutenant John F. Emerson of Rock River Rangers. This video we will show and tell a little bit about how we as a company are organized. I will show you the full organizational map of the company, and I will also talk a little bit about how and why we are organized the way we are. I will also take this opportunity to talk a little bit about how we do patrols and things like that based on our organization. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. I will be right back after the intro. Oh, you're back already. That was my holiday sweets. Maybe I should just make a slightly longer intro. What do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, you are back and so am I, and we are gonna talk about Rock River Rangers and how we are organized. To do so, I have made organizational map of the structure of the company, and I will do that by showing you step by step how we are organized. I have this right here on the side, so I will see if I can drag it into the picture. That's heavy. Oh, there we go. As you can see, a blank piece so far with a nice little headliner. I will, like I said, step by step show you the different boxes and what they mean and what the roles are. Before we get started on our map, I have to say sorry for keeping my kepi on indoors. As you can see, I am joined today also by our beloved Captain Fogg. And together we are going to go through how we are organized and basically why we think the way we do.
That is true. And my lieutenant mentioned to me that he was going to make this video, and I was like, "Oh, pick me! I want to join in," because then I can also try to explain as best as possible why we are organized the way we are and how we prioritize the continuing building up of our company. Like, we may be a little bit top heavy due to like 2 officers and sergeant and corporal with the number of members that we are at this point. But we will get back to that philosophy a little bit later on.
Yeah, let's just get to it then, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
As you can see, at the top of our organization chart is the company commander. And in our company, that is the rank of a captain. And lucky enough, we have our captain, Captain Fogg, here with us today. So I will ask you, what is your main task as our company commander? And tell us also a little bit about your leadership philosophy.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Emerson. My main philosophy about being ahead of the company is to continue to the company's development as it is and how we will be in the future. The company came forth as a brainstorming mainly between you and I, and we found out that we will try to attract the right sort of people for our company who have a genuine interest for the period, and we'll also try to be as historical correct as possible. And when these people step forward, it is my task to try to make them fit in the roles that they are portraying and how they will better contribute to the company and the good fellowship that we do have. When it comes to leadership philosophy, that is also part of it, to make every person excel to the best of his abilities and to see them develop their character and to develop also their skills and knowledge about the period and periodic drill and how to best maintain themselves as being soldiers in the field and thus representing also a military unit. Should there be in events where they should step forward and be, just good representatives for the hobby, for the history, and for our group.
Okay, we shall move on to the next books on our chart.
And then, as you can tell, the next level on our org chart is the first sergeant. We don't have an active first sergeant because that would lead us too top heavy in a company. But our second lieutenant is the acting first sergeant, so he has undertaken a few of the first sergeant's roles. And what would that be, my good lieutenant?
As the company first sergeant, I am, in short, the mother of the company. I am in charge of the morning reports that I get from the corporals and the sergeants under me in the different troops and sections, and I give that on to the captain. I am also mainly in charge of the education of the company, where we use the School of the Soldier and a few other drills and manuals for horse and saber, basically.
Yeah. And as you can tell, the scout is the next one out. And what can you tell us about scouting?
Again, that's another one of the many hats that I'm wearing in this company at the moment. As a scout, my main job is to go either in front of the company when we are on the move, or if we are stationary in camps, I would go on individual and patrols alone to scout out areas for foraging, for future camping, for basically doing the patrols alone and scouting for the benefit of the company. I will also have some sort of contact with the local farmers so that we can be on the good side if we are in foreign or in unknown territories. And I also do choose where we make the camps based on my scouting reports together with the captain. And just making sure that everything is okay outside our perimeters. Yes. Mm-hmm. Now we are down on troop levels in the company, and basically we have two troops. It's first troop and second troop. And I think you, Captain, can tell us a little bit about how and who is positioned where.
Well, the first troop is led by a second lieutenant, and the second troop is led by a first lieutenant. Thus, because if there should be like a detached service, or the company should have to split in two in order to fulfill a task, whatever, to
go on a mission.
Yes, go on a mission, achieve their goals and so forth. The captain will stay with first troop, and thus he only needs a second lieutenant as a subordinate under him, while the first lieutenant in charge of the second troop will be able to have a more individual leadership over his troop to fulfill his part of the mission. But under them, they both have two sergeants each in both of the sections, and again the corporals and the sergeants have their corporals and so on. So it's basically very individual.
So let's take a step down from here and look at the sergeant then. At the sergeant level, under the lieutenants, we have split each troop into two sections. It's section A and section B.
And both of the sections are led by a sergeant.
Below the sections we have the squads, and each squad is led by a corporal. But, Captain, there is something special about our squads. Tell us.
It is, and this is where things start getting interesting and a little bit funny, because each squad will have names representing from where the soldiers are mainly recruited from, or their home base, and to get this little individual, I don't know, flavor,
feeling of belonging, and
they feel pride in their squads with having their own names. Normally, it would be on a company level that they would have individual names from where they are mainly recruited from. But, well, we're downscaling it from company level to the squad level because this is where we recruit. So when it comes down to the squads, as mentioned, they also have individual names, and the history behind those names, starting with the first section or A section in the first troop. Could you tell us about that, Lieutenant?
Yes, of course. First Troops, Section A squad is Rock River First Rifles. Named so because those soldiers in that squad are basically living in or around Rock River City.
And now, the second squad.
The second squad of Section A in First Troop is called Rock River Second Rifles. They are called so because they are also mainly recruited from the area in or around Rock River, but they are also mainly reenactors from Sweden. So that's why they have similar names, but divided into first and second rifles. But I am not the only one that knows the story about these different names, Captain. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about the two squads in the B section?
Well, the two squads in B section, first troop, is named after where they are recruited from. And there is another Old West frontier adventure town nearby called the Chicken Creek. And the members that we have recruited for the third squad there is from the area, and thus we call them the Chicken Creek Cavaliers. And we continue to have the Chicken Creek, say, club as the recruitment base for that squad to expand into. And the same goes for the fourth squad, the Red Rock Raiders, because there is a cowboy action shooting club not far from here who's called the Red Rock
Frontiers.
Red Rock Frontiers.
Yeah,
yes, cowboy action shooters.
Yeah.
And from that group, we are recruiting into this squad. So, well, whenever we are on their turf, we expect them to show up and establish a camp for us, and well, that's their area. So we have satellites here and there, and thus we're moving on to the second troop and the first section,
or Section A, as we
Yes.
call them. The first squad in Section A, second troop, is called Split Mountain Guards. And that is because the first member of this squad is from Split Mountain. He is still a member, and he is our contact person when we go for that event held at Split Mountain. And he is also our base for recruiting in that area.
And that brings us to the next section, previously known as the Shadow Riders, but we had to change the name because the story is so great.
Yes. First, it's actually a sad story because the members of Shadow Riders, they all disappeared on one of our patrols mysteriously. And unfortunately, no track was ever found, no clue was ever found, no body was ever found. They just disappeared like shadows. So we had to fill that squad with new members, and again, same as with the Split Mountain Guards, the first member of second squad in Section A, second troop, is from a small place called Stone Creek, and they are therefore called the Stone Creek Chastisers. The name Chastisers, though, I think you, Captain, will have the pleasure of explaining that name.
No, I was just trying to find out what would make a good battle cry, and let's just leave it at that, shall we?
Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, if you stay tuned to our YouTube channel, you will get the answer sometime in the future.
And hopefully we will be invited to an event at Stone Creek also. Wink, wink.
Another reason to stay tuned. That brings us to the last section of second troop. And Captain, what are the name of the third squad in that section?
Well, that is the Fort Reagan Raiders, mainly because that the main thought behind this is that they were the squad that would man our fort, because in the area that we have located, Rock River City, we also have our home base. I mean, Rock River City is our garrison town, but outside we have a small outpost, a small fort that we actually are planning to build to materialize our dream. We've been talking about this for the past 2-3 years. Hopefully we will start there, but just to build a palisade, a small lookout tower, whatever. And we will call this place Fort Reagan, thus named after Reagan, who was the member from Texas in the Confederate government, who was the postmaster general, I believe he was. And then this squad will be the squad thought to man this outpost. Once we get to recruit the manpower and once we get to establish the fort. But it's all in there, it's just a thought process.
We do have some rude drawings of this palisade and fort plans.
We did. It's very nice. We might present them later.
Yes. Or voila, here they are.
Ta-da.
Well, we have to give you small surprises now and then. So that was one of our small surprises.
I was surprised.
Yeah. You see, surprises work. Now to the final squad.
Yes, it's called the Widowmakers. It's a cannon crew. Not because we have a cannon, but if we happen to stumble upon a mountain howitzer, sure, we're going to take it into our company. And if so happens, then we will make horse artillery and we will have a cannon crew around it. It's as simple as that.
We just made room for it, basically.
Yeah.
There you have all the main bits and parts of the company structure, but there is one very important thing that we have forgotten. As you can see on our organizational chart, there is a big blank open space in the middle. And what will we fill that part with? Well, it is the company section.
It is.
It is, and it's coming up right now. The company section is, how should we say, the administrative or working parts of the company?
Yes, it is the extended staff of the company. And in an extended staff, you have the company clerk who writes and issues orders or make copies, correspondence, and to keep the paperwork more or less, aiding the sergeant, aiding the captain and lieutenants in running the company. Also, you have the company quartermaster sergeant, which is part of that. He takes care of the company equipment, yes, like tentage, the company wagon, and so on. And along with also mainly supplies, food supplies, uniforms, stuff like that. And also they have a room for an ordnance sergeant, which may or may not be a huge part of a cavalry company, but we made room for it because then he will be our man of expertise when it comes to firearms, laws and regulations from where we to where we might be going, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and to always be the one who is on the lead of for firearms and laws, like the judicial area.
Another part of this company section is the guidon trooper. What is his job?
Well, mainly he's holding the flag. He's carrying my flag around and is very appreciative of his job and makes sure that we are seen and just always keep trooping the colors and keeping it out of harm's way. Also make sure that it blows in the right directions where the west wind blows.
And we also have, at least on paper, a musician.
Yes. Our long sought after bugler. Where are you? Please report to company headquarters because we need a bugler. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
As you can tell, we also have a a wagoneer, a teamster, a farrier. But since we are short on horses and wagons to pull out into the camps wherever we are, we kind of skimp on those positions for now.
There you have it. That was the whole organizational chart or mapping of our company structure. If you are still watching, that means that you have seen it all, unless you have skipped to this part. Anyway, we are glad that you are still with us. Captain, some people may comment and have already asked us why we are so many officers and so few soldiers on the ground in our company. What do we have to say about that part?
Well, that we understand you. No, many people say that since we are those few reenactors, we should just only be led by a sergeant or maybe just even a corporal. And on the field of battle, sure, but on the field of battle, that is less than 5% of our reenactment time, and not even that. For the past 3 years, we have tried to build our company. We haven't actually been on a battle,
no.
But we have been in camp. We have been out representing, and to have that camp structure, you have to have a working staff. And this is also a way to welcome new members to our group, because when you are coming into a group which is portraying a company and you're not met with an official staff, it kind of doesn't give you that nice feeling as it should be. So maybe we are developing our staff a little too soon, a little too early. But in my lifespan, and also your lifespan, we will never get to see this company be a full strength of 100 men plus. But we might be able to see a fully functioning staff. Thus, every people fulfilling their roles, and that we don't have dress-up ranks. If you are a sergeant in our company, well, then I expect you to also have experience and education from the military as being a sergeant. Like the lieutenant, he started out in the army and later transitioned to the regional home guards. But he's a lieutenant, in his corps. So when you go ask the lieutenant, you know that you are talking to a lieutenant. And so we don't have those dress-up ranks. If you're seeking to be a corporal or at least a quartermaster sergeant in our company, well, I expect to be talking to a sergeant and who has had those sort of tasks from his previous service.
The necessary experience.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Could also be training or military schooling as well, because then you know that you're not talking to a fake rank. And when you are joining a group which is a military organization and you are met with a efficient staff who works the way it is, then we are kind of like giving that experience to newcomers, and that's how we feed off each other. We're not just giving experiences to people in our camps, trying to ask us how we work and how things work, because we're showing them how a military organization we're supposed to work. And basically that's it. So we might be top heavy. For that we're sorry, but we're gonna make this unit work.
Actually, we are not. We are per today. We are 2 officers, the 2 of us, and we are unfortunately more soldiers on the ground. And we have 1 corporal, and we have per today 1 honorary sergeant also. So top heavy, maybe not, but we started on the top, building down. That is true, because since we are the inventors or the
founding fathers,
the founding fathers of this company. Anyway, we do have to say that we are getting to the end of this video now. Okay, this is the end, the proper end. hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Maybe you even have learned a thing or two about our company and how the structure is and how we are organized. Both the captain and I are pleased to have had you with us this long. And if you are interested in our hobby, if you are interested in joining our hobby, either somewhere else in the world or preferably for us with us, because we live somewhere near, do feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will try to contact you there.
Because the lieutenant is also the main recruiting officer of the company, and he will take good care of you.
Yeah. So, as we always do, we say, if you have liked it, hit the like button and let us know. If you are not already subscribing to this channel, hit the subscribe button and join the ranks. And if you have social medias because you share the same interest, feel free to share this video also in your own social medias. All this helps the YouTube algorithm and makes our channel feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
So with that said,
thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and
we'll see you in the battlefield.
Yeah. See you soon. Ride hard, shoot straight.
Whenever the lieutenant goes out to take a pee, I tell him that is a felony, because that's a grown man holding a little bit. As mentioned, when it comes down to the sections, they each have their individual names. And for section A in first group, can you tell us a little bit about the squads?
Yeah. Section A is divided into two squads. The first one of them is called Red Rock Blash Kiboo.
And not a sponsor. To the President of the Confederate States of America, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Davis.
Hva sa jeg? Hva sa jeg? President.
Du sa bare president, du.
Yeah. There's only one. The best Democrat president ever.